United.
Hi, welcome to this vacation episode of United.
Colors of Zinc Iron.
Some iron clashing because this comes from an island, Lido di Venezia. In summer, you hear the choir of the insects in the background, synchronicity of sounds, and the sun, and inflatable pools. Everything you need to explain to yourself that everything is fine. Don't worry. Nothing bad will happen. Not here and not in the Bahamas. We'll get to that connection soon. So there was a paper recently in June published by UK and Canadian researchers stating that it is a problem to put AI-generated content in the internet because the internet becomes suddenly polluted by that, and we produce a lot of blah on the internet, which makes it more and more difficult to create unpolluted training data sets for upcoming large language models. The LLMs are needing purely derived human data to perform in a human understandable or human way, so that it's precise and not putting out pudding, or as Spiridon Giannakis, a friend of mine, in a recent interview in German TV said, vomit. He said AI produces vomit, Kotze. And I think he's right. Kotze here in Italy means, of course, muscles. We also, those are polluted very often by heavy metals and our industrial activity. But you get the idea. AI-generated content will pollute and degrade large language models, and it will result in so-called model collapse. And what one of the authors said in one of his blogs discussing the paper is as following, I cite Ross Anderson, professor of security engineering at Cambridge University and University of Edinburgh. Just as we have strewn the oceans with plastic trash and filled the atmosphere with carbon dioxide, so we are about to fill the internet with blah. This will make it harder to train new models, and by scraping the web, giving an advantage to firms which already did that, or which control access to human interfaces at scale. So again, it benefits the first movers, it benefits the tech bros and the big companies who have access to human-derived data, or control as gatekeepers the access to that. That researchers conclude that in a future filled with AI-generated content and their tools, it might be even more and more important to look at human-generated content again. Because this might be becoming more and more valuable than today. Which is of course ironic, because we will just be asked to produce more human-generated content as a pristine source for training data sets growing AI. Surely not. Today's t-shirt is coming from another island. It's from Nassau, personally imported Nassau, Bahamas, with 1492. Put on it the ominous date when Christopher Columbus, an explorer. Why would we say something about an explorer? Is it kind of ironic to have a t-shirt like this? It's not a band. It's not a music group. No, it's the start of a very bad song. With an interim reign of an interesting pirate activity in Nassau, nevertheless. So the pirate kings of Nassau is another kind of story, from Blackbeard, Edward Teach to Anne Bonny and Charles Vane. All these things are actually would be good to insert into the AI discussion, but that will go too far. It is more about the destruction it brought, because the local tribes didn't survive much the presence of these explorers, who then nevertheless get a statue and the t-shirts, there he came. Most of the indigenous Lakuyan people died from contact with the Spanish. Really bad. who deported and enslaved the natives in the mines of Hispaniola. Very bad. Later, the indigenous population was replaced by enslaved people brought from West and Central Africa. Another kind of connection. We have colonialism on the parts of Africa inserted in there too. And all that because also in large language models, the collapse of the model comes because it grossly speaking, is favoring popular data. It will, and I cite again for one of the authors, to stop model collapse, we need to make sure that minority groups from the original data get represented fairly in the subsequent data sets. Minority groups. Yes, if we have a focus on those and we are not just putting everything together, gobbling it with and making it digesting itself, then we will probably kind of not just get Kotze, or that is exactly where inevitably it leads to destruction. Your jobs, like those who didn't ask for being explored and being mined. So, happy holidays.